Formby has been rocked by a crime wave that has the police baffled and local residents aghast.
And a confession to a crime spree 50 years on. Now, over the Christmas period of 1976, the town of Formby in Merseyside was gripped by a wave of thefts of garden gnomes stolen from people's homes. Now, nearly 50 years on, the culprit has apparently come forward live on Radio 2 to admit their crimes and beg for forgiveness. Alison Freeman takes up the story.
The first victims were the Tinian family.
It was a mystery that gripped the nation. Gnomes nicked from gardens in Formby in 1977.
Hey look, the gnome's been nicked.
The BBC's nationwide programme reported how the Tinian family's cherished gnome Fred was shockingly wrenched from his concrete base, leaving only his boots behind. But instead of a case of theft, what transpired was a gnome-napping racket, with demands made for money in return for these garden guardians. The ransom note that dropped on the Tinian family's mat read,
"Your gnome has 72 hours to live.
Unless you wrap 25p and leave at the car park at Safeways near the bowling green, then
go away and await further instructions." That's for me.
What's that?
This is no hoax.
Despite the police launching an investigation at the time, the perpetrator remained at large for almost 5 decades, until finally this week, a lead. Radio 2 DJ Vernon Kay had revisited the story on his show and received a voice note from a listener called Jenny.
I know that culprit. He is in fact my cousin.
Known only as Arthur, he made his confession.
Were you and your brother behind the Formby gnome kidnappings of 1977?
I'm afraid to say that is true. We just thought it was a bit of a fun. We checked the locations we put in the ransom note. Nothing there. So 3 nights later, we went and put them all back again. And then about a month later, Nationwide picked it up, and we were sitting in the living room. We were having tea, watching telly, the whole family. And my brother, who was 5 at the time, turns around and goes, "That was me and Arthur, that was."
Right, madam, if you'd care to identify your gnome, please.
Despite the confession on national radio, Arthur says he has no wish to be identified. But the 47-year-old mystery of the gnome-nappings is at least partially solved for now. Alison Freeman, BBC News.